All
Okay,
right.
boys and girls, welcome to 2026. Holy smokes, we made it another year in this crazy
Yes.
industry that we've all decided to dive feet first in for some wacky reason, waking up every day unemployed. So, our special guest, as you can kind of see on the screen, you have Marco, myself, Nicholas Yale, and then this other guy named Jeremy David Schachter. The reason why I didn't share that Jeremy was coming on the show is because we're not talking about lending. We're not talking about anything that's relative to the real estate and or lending world, which I think is important because we all get stuck in this box where we're all who we are. So we always want to talk about our lives and our business and how we're growing our business, our successes, our failures, things like that. So Jeremy actually had the idea to kind of change it up, and Mark and I championed that idea because I thought, what a great way to approach 2026 by simply talking to a human about the struggles in life and things like that, and how to overcome those. So that's what we're going to do. Nick, can you be a buddy and just darken your screen so that way we have the whole thing for post production? Not that I don't want to see your beautiful face, but it helps with the editing version of this. Jeremy, kind of just let's have Marco kind of chum in here a little bit
Yeah.
because I think you sent Marco the stuff over the overview and everything. So kind of take it away from there, Marco, and then we'll take off on the conversation
Yes.
from there.
Yes. Well, happy 2026, everyone. I know it's going to be an amazing year for everyone. I am super excited that this is going to be the first full year that I'll be with Brokers Hub Realty. So I get to see the whole process, from, you know, January all the way to December. So I'm super excited about all that. But yeah, so we have Jeremy here, which, as many of you guys know, he's kind of part of the, Brokers Hub family. A lot of us use him. Jeremy, when we talked to you, you said, "Hey, look, I don't want to talk about
Right.
lending," um, which is great because I think that we get a lot of stuff about lending, and we can always go to you, right? But you're gonna tackle something that I think is super important, especially as we head into 2026, right? Where I think a lot of people in 2025 kind of struggled, right? It was a funky market. It was a funky
Mm.
market, and it can get to our head. You are going to talk a little bit about how to kind of control your emotions, right? And how to relieve stress. And you're going to make some references to, I think you said Mel Robbins. Is that correct?
Mel Robbins, correct.
So I guess let me ask you, why did you ask to talk about this? And is it where's this coming from?
Sure. Well, first, lending is really boring, Marco. I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face, and everyone, has their preferred lenders, one, two, and three. And honestly, how I got connected with Nick Yale was I referred him a client, and it worked out well. And then business came following that, so I proved, that I'm an adequate lender. So I don't want to take an hour talking about myself, but I really was honored to be the first guest for 2026 and wanted to talk about mindset, talking
Mm.
about how you can tackle 2026. With the new year coming in, you usually have resolutions that
Yep.
sometimes fade out
Yep.
after the first few weeks, whether it's weight loss or meditation. And you mentioned 2025, but honestly, it's been a tough couple of years. It's been a
Yeah.
Yeah.
tough couple of years for, I mean, really, I've been doing
I
this
think for
25
everybody.
years.
I think for everybody. I don't think it's not just you. I think on a whole, anybody that's in our industry, as I kind of started with today, it's a very tough industry to be in. And it doesn't matter how seasoned you are, doesn't matter how good you are. I mean, Nick alone, right, is legendary in our office and in the Valley. He's one of the top agents in the Valley. And he still has, I mean, I sit next to him. So there's frustration days. There's shit days where people that you worked with for years all of a sudden decide to go this direction. You're like, what the hell? Like you don't understand. You can't wrap your head around it, and it hurts. Like
Right.
that's a to the ego, right? It's like, wait a minute, I do this, 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 and this, and then you're gonna go work with Joe Blow because he's got this fancy new program. Like, what the fuck? So I
Mhm.
think it's important to step out of the box of business and just focus on the human aspect because that's the thing that people look at us as this is our job, right? But they don't understand all the hats we wear. They don't understand all the stress that comes along with what we do. They don't understand the baggage that we carry with us because every conversation we have as realtors, right, that goes to the grave. So the seller, it's just there's so much that we have to carry on our shoulders being in this profession. And that's why I love the idea of what you want to talk about, Jeremy, is just how to deal with all this stuff,
No,
right?
absolutely. And even like seasoned real estate agents that have
Mm-hmm.
done so well prior to COVID, I always say pre-COVID, just because during COVID, it was very easy, in my opinion, to make a lot of money. You just had to put a sign into the yard. You had a million different offers. It was crazy. It was not realistic. It's never going to be. It's never going to last. Agents that had experience had challenging years, and it's going on like 3-4 years. It's not like just a blip. And I was in the market when the housing crash happened in 2008. Honestly, I think this is harder than 2008, because in 2008 we kind of pulled the band-aid off. We deal with short sales and foreclosures, and then eventually they had programs. Elevated interest rates, have been going on for a couple of years now. And I know, the course of a 30-year fixed mortgage, we're not that high. We're in the upper fives to lower sixes, and people want that 3% rate, which is never going to come back. But it's been a challenging couple of years, and I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit that we're a therapist. We talk to our clients like we talk to our family, and every day you wake up and you're unemployed. And understand that you show someone a million different houses and they decide to go with a low cost agent that's going to give a credit back for their commission, and I deal with it on my side too. So I wanted to start off this year with things like little nuggets that you can take home with you. And I could put it on the Brokers Hub Facebook page, just because I'm going to be talking about different things that you might not have the ability to write if you're just in the car or what have you. But I think these things I've used, and it's worked for me. So if you can take one thing out of this after this, 1 hour interview, I think it's worth
conversation. So how many of these nuggets are you going to share with us so we get an idea?
Sure. So I'm going to talk about sleep hygiene. So it's not about taking a shower before you go to sleep.
Okay.
I've never heard that term before, Jeremy. And so I'm really interested to see what that is and how you apply it, and the theory behind it.
Sure.
So let's talk about sleep hygiene. Yes, go ahead. Sleep hygiene.
Yeah,
here we go.
No worries. So for years, I've always had challenges sleeping. Ever since I was a kid, I had night terrors, and after that, I'm a type A. Think about everything, and honestly, I think a lot of people in this industry do feel this way. You're always looking at the next stage. You're always looking at the next client that you're getting. You're never present in the moment, and you are always like 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. So your mind is always racing. At least for me, you have anxiety. You worry about things, whether it's an inspection, whether client's gonna make an offer in a property, whether deal's blowing up, whether it's a lender issue or what have you. So you deal with all these stresses. But the biggest thing is that you need to at least get 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep a night. And I'm a morning person. So, people make fun of me that I go to bed usually probably by like 8:15, 8:30.
Really?
Up by 5 a.m. in the morning. But there's other people that are night owls. I can't tell you, Chris, you stay up until 12 o'clock every night. Like, no, you need to go to bed at 8 and be up at 5. I'm not going to tell you that, because that's your personal preference. But what I can talk about is sleep hygiene. And what that means is taking steps to have a better night's sleep. So for instance, you should go to bed at a consistent time each and every night, and you should wake up each and every day, including
you got to wake up every day. If you don't wake up every day, there's a problem. Something happened.
Our goal is to wake up every day, Chris. That's our goal.
Right. When somebody asks you, what'd you do today? I woke up. Don't tell me you woke up. It's obvious. You're sitting here. You woke up.
You're alive. You have a heartbeat. Sometimes I wonder with my clients, I'm like, do you have a heartbeat? Are you still there? But having like regimens. So for instance, I have a do not disturb that goes onto my phone, and it usually goes on at 7:30 p.m. and it doesn't turn off until about 6 a.m. So I have, obviously if you have family members, or you both have kids or elderly parents, you can break that in your iPhone, or I'm sure Droid has it, but I have a iPhone that you can say, okay, I want Chris, if Chris has an emergency, he can break through that do not disturb and he can call me. So you don't have to have do not disturb. Basically, no one's bothering you, but at a certain point, ideally an hour before you go to bed, you should turn off all your electronic devices. You shouldn't be on your laptop with the blue light. You shouldn't be on your phone. Ideally, you shouldn't be having alcoholic drinks a couple hours before you go to sleep, because that will keep you up. But I have my do not disturb sign, so I don't really check my emails or voicemails or what have you. And it's not because I'm lazy, it's because I'm putting myself first. If you have a better mental capacity of taking care of yourself first, then you can focus on your business and growth. But if you're not in that mental state where you're tired all the time, where you're stressed out all the time, you're not on your top of game. So taking care of yourself first, just like the flight, when you lose oxygen in a emergency in an airplane, you put the mask on first, and then you help out someone. You don't help out someone first and then do yourself. You do yourself first. So putting yourself first. So I have do not disturb on my phone, so I don't look at my phone. Of course, I'm a little OCD where I'm like, oh, did that email come through or what have you? But for the most part, religiously, I try not to check my phone at least an hour before I go to sleep.
This looks like this takes a lot of discipline, right? This is not something that you can just do. So, like, for example, last night, I was waiting for an email. I was waiting for signatures, right? And I had to get these signatures over to the agent by 9 o'clock, right? And so I'm, like, I'm just looking at that phone every 2 minutes, right? And so how does, I guess, what was your steps to kind of condition yourself to be like, you know what?
Yeah, how do you shut that off, man?
How do you shut that off?
Yeah, because realtors all the time. Marco he nailed it. Because it's like you're thinking, don't they understand this is important? Don't they understand I got to sign this?
And of course you have deadlines, so you don't want to have a deal blow up because you're based on a deadline. So hopefully that's not each and every day that you're dealing with something at 9 o'clock at night that you have to get before you go to sleep. So that's kind of the exception to the rule. Overall, making, think as it this way. Is there something that you can do tomorrow that you didn't have to do today? Like,
Thank you.
Is the whole world going to blow up if you don't respond to that client via text at 10 o'clock at night? Because honestly, once you open up that Pandora's box and say, okay, I'm going to respond to them at 9, 10 o'clock at night just because I want to give good service, it's going to happen again and again. And it's not that you don't care about your clients. You should care about yourself and put yourself first and say, you know what, this is my time. It's my time with my family, my time with my spouse, my time with myself. So having those boundaries really puts your mind like, okay, this is my time. So you're going to make mistakes. We're human. So if you just try it and say, okay, I'm going to do not disturb from 8:30 p.m. to 6 a.m. each and every day and see if I can break that cycle. And of course,
here's a question for you.
Sure.
So I've done this since the second year in real estate because I came home from showing houses, went straight into my office, and then 9 o'clock came out. Like he gave me that look like, what the fuck? So I have a rule, and I share it from day one. There's only 3 reasons I don't answer my phone. It's after 7 on a Sunday or I'm with clients or family. So my clients know from the get-go, and I'll have voicemails at 7:05. Hey, Chris, I know it's just after 7. You don't have to answer me today. But going back into what you said, there's nothing you can accomplish after the business day's over that can't wait till the following day.
Right.
Like nothing, because if the lender's at home, the title company's closed, what are you supposed to do to the question they have? If it's something that's pertinent to one of those partners of ours, you can't do anything. But at the same time, never go to bed without sharing that bad news. Don't go to bed knowing the house didn't appraise. Knock on wood, because we all have houses that have to appraise. But don't go to bed not sharing the house didn't appraise, because then you're not going to sleep, right? You're going to sleep like shit. So you gotta not only I love what you do not disturb, but you gotta somehow clear the mind, right? You gotta flush all the day out of it somehow.
You have to flush it out, and like a lot of things you can do is like take a hot shower before you go to bed. I don't bring my phone into my room at all. I leave it in my office in a separate room. I have an Apple Watch that I track my sleep with. And that's on Do Not Disturb too. So, if someone texts me, I don't get disturbed by that. But the worst thing you can do is have, and I'm not trying to bash anyone, I'm just these are facts, is having a cell phone right next to you that you use for your alarm clock. Because when you're not sleeping, what are you going to be doing? Then you can go on your phone and like, okay, I'm checking messages or going on social media, then the blue light's coming through, and then you're getting anxiety from reading the news or dealing with emails that could push to the next day. So ideally, leaving your cell phone in a separate bedroom would be
Blue light glasses.
And blue light glasses is very good. But keeping that cell phone away from you, because the first thing in the morning, what do you do when
Yeah.
if you have your cell phone as an alarm clock? You turn off the alarm clock and then you go right into your email. You don't
Yep.
take time for yourself. A study, uh, no, well, it's science, is that within 30 minutes when you wake up, you should see some daylight, whether it's
Oh,
going for a walk, going outside, but the natural light affects you as a human being. So if you're first thing in the morning, you're looking at your cell phone and going through emails, not even getting out of bed or stretching, you're basically going right into work. That's not a good way to wake up. Leave
no.
your cell phone in another room, or if you have to have your cell phone for whatever reason, to put on do not disturb and really try not to look at that throughout the night. Put that
That's a really good piece of advice. I used to have my cell phone in the other room of my office all the time, and then something happened to the alarm clock, so I don't have it by my bed. It's on the floor behind the white noise oscillating fan. So I physically have to get out of bed in order to get my phone when the alarm goes off, right? So I don't have a nightstand, but I'm gonna figure out a way to move it back to my office. I like that. I forgot about that I used to do that, and
Jeremy, like
it was much better.
Jeremy, I think this is amazing, and for you to do that, like, is, I mean, to me, it just shows a lot of like self-discipline and commitment to yourself. And I do have a question for you, but this happened to me on Sunday, and I texted an agent, or I called them, I can't remember, but it said do not disturb, right? And this is the first time that's ever happened. I got jealous. I like that's so nice that they, that they're letting me know that, look, right now I'm not working, right? And I'm like, actually said I should start doing that at night, like put like a do not disturb. I don't know why I noticed it for the first time, but this resonates with me. Now, my question to you, Jeremy, is how long have you been doing this? And what are some of the results that you've seen, like physically, mentally? Like, where were you at and where are you at now after doing these routines?
Sure. Anyone who knows me, I'm an open book. So I say it like it is. I have a therapist. I think everyone should go to a therapist, not because you think you're wacko or crazy, but my therapist gave me these ideas years ago, and I've always had challenges sleeping. Like I mentioned, my biggest thing is that my mind just constantly started racing at night. And I wasn't getting a good night's sleep. I was looking at the alarm clock. I was worrying about this person's appraisal. I was worried about are they going to go with me? All these things that were mentally in my head that were keeping me up. And I'm like, I can't go on like this. You have a stressful enough job. Sleep is so important. So, gosh, I've been doing this probably at least 15 years
So
where,
so not to interrupt you, but how do you turn your brain off? Because
like,
here's the thing. I think we all on some level have ADHD because the shit that we do and that we accomplish and the shiny new things, all that kind of jazz. I can't get my brain to shut off ever, like ever. So how do you get your brain to shut off? Like how do you
sure.
just like you ever seen the movie for Love of the Game, Kevin Costner baseball
Oh,
movie?
yeah, a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So remember when he's on the mound and he's in Yankee Stadium and everybody's just heckling the hell out of him? And this is perfect if you can rationalize the visualization of this. So he's on the mound, he's got a glove, he's looking around, and everybody's just cussing him out, yelling, and just giving him all kinds of shit. And he's like, clear the mechanism. And when he says clear the mechanism in his brain, the entire stadium goes empty. And it's just him on the mound looking at the catcher. Nobody else is there. I love that concept, but I can never get my brain to just shut the fuck up ever.
So
So
here's
how
a
do you do that?
sure. So here's a few tips. So you should keep um your bedroom cool. It shouldn't be hot. Like you shouldn't be sweating
Yeah,
at night because you're just going to
great.
keep yourself up.
Yep,
If you're having alcohol before you sleep, your temperature is going to rise and you're going to be sweating in and out. Like,
okay,
even though people think, oh, I have a good night's sleep because I'm buzzed or drunk, guess
right.
what? You're not really getting a good night's sleep. And I'm a hypocrite with this part. I'm not going to tell you that I don't drink and go to sleep. It's just not reality. But if you can consistently try to not have alcohol a couple hours before, including caffeine too, whether it's chocolate, whether it's
Tea,
coffee,
right.
tea, all these things can keep you
Soda,
up. So getting rid of the caffeine, the junk
okay.
food, the booze, a couple hours beforehand, keeping your bedroom really cool. So ideally like 68 degrees. I know it sounds like it's super cold, but if your bedroom is hot, you're not going to sleep that well. Like you mentioned, Chris, I have a fan that's right on top of me, so I keep that cool each and every night I go to sleep. I have a face mask. I know this is like going into a lot of detail, but I have a face mask just because, you have TVs that have red dots on it, like for the power, or you have your internet, whatever mesh system. There's lights in your bedroom. Ideally, you want to have it black. And then another thing is I sleep with soothing music, whether it's ocean sounds or rain sounds, or like I have Apple Music, and one of their playlists is called Pure Meditation. So basically, it's just like birds chirping, and it's very calm and kind
The
of
whole
just
night.
whole night.
The whole
Yeah,
night. So if you roll over and happen to wake up, you're going to hear birds chirping.
birds chirping.
Man,
As I turned 50 this year, shockingly, you go up and you have to go to the bathroom. Usually it's 1 to 2 a.m. My challenge usually is I can go to sleep, but I have a hard time falling back to sleep. So having a calm environment, whether it's music, ocean sounds, wave sounds, they have noise machines. You can get everything free on your phone, but just having that in the background. Obviously, having your bed comfortable. Don't be cheap on beds.
Right.
This is something that you sleep each and every day with.
Yeah.
So, getting, a clearance bed, like making sure you have a comfortable bed. And those are kind of the things that I use to help me fall asleep and stay asleep, which is really important.
Okay, so back it up a little bit. We have the 8:30 to 6 a.m., right? Do not disturb.
Do not disturb.
We have the no phone. Now, does that include no TV, no phone, no electronics, anything an hour before?
I'm not gonna say that I'll have
Okay, but
watching
at least
Homeland at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, but
but
ideally
at
not
least
have. Yeah,
but no
at
phone,
least the phone.
no computer. Okay,
Yeah.
so do not disturb's on at 8:30. No phone, no desktop, no laptop. You're not drinking any type of caffeinated beverages. So, and cut out junk food. So, are you not eating and drinking 2 hours before bed, or are you not eating and drinking an hour before bed? What's that look like?
I usually eat about 5:30 to 6, and I'm in
Okay.
bed by 8. So 2 hours before.
Okay.
Not a heavy meal either.
Okay.
So if you're having like a really heavy meal, like
Right.
your body's digesting that, and it might keep you up as well too. I've noticed when I eat a heavy meal, I don't sleep as well as not, you know, a cracker, but I'm talking about like, fish with
Oh
salad,
yeah. Yeah.
not like lasagna and then have
Right.
meatball,
Yeah.
have,
The food coma. You
chocolate
don't
cake
have a
after that. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have a food coma at 8 o'clock at night. Don't eat a chicken pot pie from Marie Callender's at 8:15 because it's not going to serve you justice.
so Jeremy,
Sure.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like the message that you're, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like I think a lot of people think if I stay up later, working a lot longer, right? Wake up early, work, right? Not get 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep, that I'm being more productive, right? From hearing you, it sounds like it's actually counterproductive, right? And it seems like if you do get those really nice, solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you're able to hit that day harder and focus a lot better. I'm guessing, is that what we're heading towards?
Yeah, like focusing a lot better. I mean, if you have like 4 to 5 hours a night's sleep, because I'm like, oh, I'm a night owl. I wake up early in the morning. I only need 5 hours. Are you having like a Red Bull at 1 o'clock in the afternoon just so you can stay up? I mean, is that really healthy, to have all
Right.
this caffeine just because you're so tired? So ideally having 7 to 8 hours is the minimum. I mean, sometimes people or scientists say like 8 to 10. So I'm like pushing down a little bit just because 7 to 8 might be a challenge for people. Some people get 5 hours. It's very common for people having sleep problems. There's another thing I use, and I actually went with Nick Yale to this one seminar. Gosh, this is going on like 15, 20 years ago. And this high real estate agent producer basically had a mental breakdown in the middle of the height of her career. And she basically went into the hospital, like a psychiatric facility. And then when she got back out, she started to meditate. And I'm like, oh, I can't meditate. My mind just doesn't connect with it. I can't relax my brain. And then she recommended this thing, and I immediately bought it, and it actually works. And it's not that expensive. And I'll put this on the Facebook page too.
Yeah.
I talked about it before. It's called the Muse, SE. So it's basically a band that goes around your head and it gets connected to like trigger points in your ears, and then you connect it with your phone and it tracks how your brain reacts to certain sounds. So it has a million different sounds that you can do on this program, but one that I like is ocean sounds, which it seems like I like ocean sounds a lot because I like the ocean and water. So when you're not focusing on meditation and you're basically thinking about, oh, that client that didn't get me that 9 o'clock signature, it turns from like birds chirping to like crashing waves. And then once you clear out your mind, it goes back to like birds chirping, and it tracks how many birds chirp or whatever the song or program that you're going to be doing. So it knows like how long you've been meditating for, and you can do it at night to get your mind ready to clear your mind so you can just
Right.
sleep well, or you can do it in the morning, first thing. Start off the day fresh, maybe go outside and sit on your patio with sunlight in and try to do this for 5 or 10 minutes.
Is the sun up at 5 a.m.?
Not right now, but in the summertime it will be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So obviously you have to change your, time clocks, based on winter or summer. But you can get the Muse on eBay. I buy lots of stuff on eBay where it's used or pre-owned or even new, but maybe like $200. You can get this. They have older models and newer models. So if you can get the newer one, has better technology. Invest in yourself and
Yeah.
realize that if you want to try to start meditating and you can't just sit there and let things go out of your brain and just like have peace and harmony, maybe this will help you. So that's like another nugget that I
Okay.
like to do.
So first nugget is do not disturb 8:30 to 6 a.m. That's your first nugget. Second nugget, no alcohol, no caffeine, anything like that, at least an hour before bedtime. And you want to get off so third nugget is get off the cell phone, the desktop, the laptops, right? So
Don't have the blue light. Yep.
right, no blue light. So what's a fourth nugget?
The fourth nugget, the Muse. Do you talk
The
about
Muse,
that?
okay, the Muse. Yep,
Yeah.
the Muse.
Then gratitude. This
Okay.
is a really big thing. When people have gratitude, they live a better life. And I'm not saying like so there's an app called Three Good Things. It's a free app. I use
Right.
this every single day. You can do it in the morning or do it at night. I prefer at night just because
Okay.
you have positive thoughts before you go to sleep. So
Mhm.
every day you have like a little push notification called Three Good Things, and it just says, what are three good things that happened to you today? So if it's it can be profound, like, oh, I closed my largest deal ever. It could be
Right.
like financial, but also can be like, it was a beautiful day and I went for a walk and my dog is just so cute and made me smile. It doesn't have to be like something
Or
that,
you held the door open to somebody, or you made
and they
somebody
said,
right.
oh,
Something like you had engaged in some conversation where you had an impact on that person's life. So just three things through your entire 15 hours of daytime, because you sleep for 7 to 8, so you have 15 hours of a day. So you're going to find three things. If you can't find three things you did good in a 15-hour day, something's wrong.
and it can be like the sky is so blue today, it made me smile. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, I got 5 new clients today, or
Oh no,
it
I
doesn't
get
have
it.
to be like something that is like financially, just something that like made you feel good,
Not
or
everything. Not what I'm hearing from you. Not everything needs to be centered around what we do for a living.
correct.
What it needs to be centered around us as humans and finding our inner peace. So then that just shines out to the world. Am I getting this?
Yeah, it's not what you do, it's who you are. So you're a real estate agent, that's what you do for a living, but that's not who
Right.
you are. Like I
No.
know Chris, like he's loves to be athletic. He does marathons, he takes care of his body, he doesn't drink, he focuses on healthy stuff. You're a real estate agent, but that's not who you are
Right.
as a person.
Right.
So the other, nugget is maybe getting the Muse as well as getting this app that's completely free called Three Good Things. And
Right.
they have another app that's free. It's a journaling app. So I know a lot of new phones have journaling. I do journal a lot. I think what helps me with journaling is that when you write something down that like you think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in your whole entire life. Like, oh my God, I worked with this client and they told me off and they went somewhere else and I
Right.
felt like a loser. You write that down because in your whole entire world, that's what's focusing on, that's bothering you right this second. And then like a week later or 2 weeks later or a month later, you read, your journal, like that wasn't a big deal. I
Yes.
survived that. I moved on, and basically, what I overcame that. So when the next time happens that's very similar, you can kind of reprogram your brain that you're not going to flip out if a client does this because you got through it in the past. You overcame that. So journaling kind of wakes you up to like, oh, this was so important to me at this time. And I didn't think I can get through it. And I did. And it wasn't a big deal. So then
Yeah.
so journaling, I think, is really important too.
And I think, well, when I think about gratitude, like if someone were to ask me, like, "Hey, Marco, what are three things that you're grateful for?" Right? Um, at least the way that I think about it, it's kind of like it puts a stop for me mentally to like really reflect. Okay,
Mm,
like I'm, I'm in business mode right now, right? It's
mhm,
9 o'clock. I'm going right, and but if someone would say like, what are three things that you're grateful for? It kind of, at least in my brain, it says stop, think about the bigger picture, right? Like
Right.
reflect. And I think also like when you think of like gratitude, it really makes you think about your world, right? Like really just to stop and say, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, like it was a great morning. I made toast for my
mhm.
son. He thought it was like the best toast I've ever made because I added extra peanut butter on it. I'm grateful that he really likes my toast.
100%. And it was a minor thing, but it made you think. And like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be profound. Like that made you feel good,
yeah.
and that your son appreciated you making that toast. And what's great about these three good things in this other app is that it tracks everything. So you can always go back to it. So if
Mm,
you're having a really crappy day
mm,
and
Yeah.
like, you know what, I just don't want to do any work. I just want to stay under the covers. It's just, I'm pissed off at the world. Go back and see like the little things that you're grateful for.
mhm.
Just gets you into a different mindset. And,
Yeah.
And this reminds me a little bit of the for those of you that know Buffini. Buffini's biggest. I mean, I get the referrals, blah blah blah. But the other thing about Buffini was win the day, right? And if you win the day, you got to win the week. In order to win the week, you have to have the majority of the week. Win the day, win the week, win the month, win the year, right? So the three good things sounds to me like something like that, where you can pull out three positive things every day that happens, and you get on those little streaks with the apps. Like I do the Duolingo app. I'm learning how to play chess and stuff. So you get the streaks, and they 869 days, blah blah blah. So is it three good things the same kind of concept? As you journal, as you like with the fitness apps. Every time I do the fitness app, it alerts me. Oh, a streak. Oh, you're continuing down your streak. You get that kind of a
like
recognition from the app
reinforcement.
itself. Yeah, yeah.
I,
Reinforcement, better word.
I think it does. I think the
Okay,
three good things is more a reminder system. It's not like I have Duolingo, so if you do it like a million times, you get like the stars, bonuses, and like
right.
flashes. I think it's a reminder system.
Okay,
If you're putting a reminder in your phone and it's
gotcha.
coming up as a push notification,
Yeah,
don't ignore it because it's
right.
what's the point of doing it? And I've been
Yeah,
guilty of it, like, oh, I don't have time for that, or I'm not in a good mood. You know, like I said, it doesn't have to be profound, just something
right.
that has happened in your life that was good today.
Yeah,
It could be as simple as I had a great workout or I slept really
Yeah.
well. So don't overthink it.
Yeah. And I think
okay,
a good
okay.
I think a good message for all of us in this industry, right, is that, some people might think, well, this is kind of a waste of time. It's not really business, right? So
Mhm,
I don't really need to do it. But here's the thing is like if you do make it part of your business to have a healthy mind, right?
mhm.
Then this isn't a waste of time. Right? This is you getting mentally strong. This is you, getting yourself in a position to succeed, right? So I think if we kind of change the narrative of like, hey, look, this is part of your business model to make
Yeah.
sure that you get a good night's sleep, to make sure that you are grateful, to make sure that you are mentally healthy,
Mhm.
you're going to be more productive, right?
And I agree with that, Marco. And I think being mentally healthy, mentally strong is going to help you navigate through our days, because our days are never the same, because our clients are never the same. Their personalities are never the same. And I think sometimes we get hung up on a speed bump, and then
Hmm.
all of a sudden that speed bump takes us down a whole different path, because instead of, going over the speed bump, we just turn around and go the other direction because there's no speed bumps, right? And
Yeah.
and then it's just a smoother road. But that's not always the best way to approach things. I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of getting sidetracked because of some stupid conversation with a realtor who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, because they've been, completely ignorant. You know what I mean? It's like you mentioned before with lenders. So that's a really good bunch of nuggets there, man, for sure. What else you got?
Yeah.
Sure. whenever your house is disorganized, I know at least for myself, like say if your bedroom master or main bedroom is all chaotic, or your
Right.
desk, your work desk, there's tons of shuffled papers, not really organized. When you organize that, at least for me, you feel like somewhat your life is somewhat in balance.
Yeah.
Like, and or if you're like going through your closet and getting rid of half the stuff and donating it that you don't wear, like something that you're cleansing, you
Yeah.
feel like your life is in balance. So it's similar to that with sleep, good sleep hygiene, having a good mental capacity, having good thoughts about yourself, because that will trickle down to your business. But if you're
Yeah.
a stress case, you can't even sleep at night, you're like worried about every single thing. Your health is the most important thing
Right.
that you have.
Yeah.
Time and health. Money doesn't buy that. So when you realize that if you can take care of yourself mentally and have a good outlook, it will transform into your business. But if you don't do that, you know, everything's chaotic. It's like when you meet a real estate agent and you feel like everything's a
A
three alarm
challenge.
fire. More than likely, her life is a 3 alarm fire. So
Love
having
that.
a
Yeah.
good
I
balance
didn't
in
think of
life.
that either. That's brilliant.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I know she gets a lot of PR, and maybe you're over it, just like a celebrity, like Taylor Swift gets a
Are you
lot.
gonna talk? Are you gonna talk about Taylor Swift, man?
No, not Taylor Swift.
Okay.
I
Thank
am a
God.
Swiftie and I love her. No, I'm gonna talk about Mel Robbins, because I think a lot of people, if they don't know her, they at least seen her on social media. It resonated with me to a point where I'm going with Sherry Rampey and two other people next year. Well, actually, sorry, this year, May 2nd, to see her live. But she was a corporate attorney, so she doesn't even have a therapy license. So if you don't know Mel Robbins, she has blonde hair. She wears these black glasses. She's probably in her mid-50s, and she has this book that's a bestseller now called "Let Them Theory." So if you haven't heard about it, you can get it in Audibles or what
What's
have
it
you.
called? What's it called?
Let Them Theory.
Let them through.
Ellie.
Okay.
So
I thought I heard something else. I thought you're Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. What? Okay. Let them therapy. Got it. Got it. Got it.
let them theory.
Oh,
So
theory. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
theory. Yes. So so for everyone that's listening to this, I'll give you like a scenario. So
Okay.
have you ever had a past, like a VIP client or a family member or a neighbor or a really good friend not use you for
Yeah.
real estate? And how did that feel?
Fucking pisses you off, man. Just
And
nobody can. And anybody that says, "Oh, it's fine," bullshit.
they're
At
lying.
at your inner being, your inner core, when the door's shut, like, why? Because it's like, really? Because that's our ego. We've talked about it before. We have to have that ego to do what we do. So when somebody does that, it's like a mind fuck big time. Anyway,
And even
sorry.
a million other
Digress.
clients you're dealing with.
Right.
For
Doesn't
me,
matter.
it's never about money. It was never the
Nope.
money. It was like the respect and like up and the value that it gave you, and like,
Mhm.
family members, friends,
Yep.
everyone at least has come across that. I hope,
Mhm.
I hope not, but it's just a reality. So you can take it in two different steps. You can, or two different roads, or like you're at a crossroad. You can either feast into the I can't believe they didn't use me as
Yep.
a
Yep.
real estate agent.
Mhm.
They wanted me to cut my commission 2.5%. How many times have I helped out their child with, with bake sales and this and that?
Right.
This is my best friend. I cannot believe he didn't use me for a mortgage, for listing a house, for buying a
Mhm.
house. My VIP client that's used me 20 times now went to 72 sold because they got gimmicked into using that. So
Right. Right. It's true though.
it
Anybody but that.
burns. It burns, and like Chris said, if it doesn't bother you, you're probably not human, or you're lying to yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people can just push it off to the side, where the let them theory basically is trying to help that, or you can feast into the aggravation and it will keep you up at night. You'll get upset about it. You might go off on that person. You might not be friends with them anymore. So there's lots of things that you can do to
Yeah.
control that. So if, for instance, if Chris is my best friend and he's
Oh,
talking about buying a house,
sorry, Nick.
yeah, sorry, buying a house for 10 years. He
Uh-huh.
bothers me every single time. Show me this house. Show me that house. Nick Yale can talk, he has a good client friend that wants to see houses all the time. They're looks you lose. They're never going to
Yeah.
buy
Yeah. Yeah.
at that moment.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see on Facebook, Chris bought a house and he's moving in, and and the real estate agent that's not you is tabs. Like, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Either that, let them do that, and push that anxiety off to them, and then let me. The second part is let me. Let me is basically handling that situation, because
Right.
the let them theory basically just takes the onus and puts it on them, because you can't
Oh,
change their mindset. You can't change
no.
their decision. They're already closed. It's not
Yeah.
even like you can talk to them and like they're going to drop that real estate agent. They're done.
Yeah.
So why are
Yeah.
you going to manifest all that negativity, because you can't undo it? And then let me focus on clients that really want to work with me. Let me realize that I am worthy of my best friend using me, but they decided to use someone else.
Yeah.
It takes conditioning of your brain. It's not like all of a sudden, like, let them do whatever they need to do. All of a sudden you're going to feel like, you know, uh, uh, the sky's opening up, and the, Noah's Ark, and the rivers going, what have you, opening
Right.
up, like, in the Bible.
Parting of the Red
Part of the
Sea.
Red Sea, yes.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of discipline to retrain your brain. But if you push off the decisions that they made, that's their decision.
Yeah.
And then you get the power back by saying, let them do that. And it can happen. You can put it in your personal life. You can put it in your business life. You can put it into it's not just for work. That's usually what irks people, is like, you work with a client for so long, you go on a listing appointment, they go with another real estate agent, hurts your
Right.
ego a little bit,
Yeah.
And
so
and I think it's also like, if you follow this theory, right, and you say, hey, look, it has nothing to do with me personally, right? You take that burden off of your shoulders, right? And and that insecurity of like, what did I say? What did I do? And made them go, because it might not have to do with you at all, right? And so I think a lot of us, if in the situations where we retrace and we're like, okay, where did I mess up? Where did I
right,
lose this client?
why was
Where
I good enough for this person?
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
And it's
And
not you,
yeah,
it's their decision that they made. And
right,
sometimes you feel like you're the reason why they did it, and it might not even be anything that like that.
Yeah.
right, right. And I think, and to your point, Jeremy, I think, well, at least to this, I think we do beat ourselves up a lot. I think as professionals, as CEOs of our own business, right? We beat ourselves up over a lot of stupid things that maybe
Yeah.
we just have no control,
No,
right?
no control over it. Like, whether it's you're waiting at 9 o'clock for this really important signature, and it's not that important to that client because they're not signing at 9 o'clock, and this is to you. It's like, no, you don't understand that you have to get back by this time, and they don't have the same priorities. You can't force them to have the mindset of yourself. And that was the biggest thing that I had to realize, is that I don't have control over what you are thinking, Marco. As much as I think, oh, I'll influence you to do this and that, you're your own person, and you make
Yeah.
your own decisions. Whether it affects me or not is a different situation. But so I printed this out because I thought it was really important. And the let the theory, why it works, is that most stress comes from resisting reality. You waste energy trying to manage other people's emotion, choices, or opinions. Let them freeze you from that mental loop. If you're, it shifts your mindset from why are they doing this to me to what to do next. The second half, and I'm talking about that, is the let me, meaning let them behave how they choose. Let me choose how I respond. And that's where your power is back. And that's where you turn things around. So the let them theory is about emotional independence, stronger boundaries, less anxiety and resentment, and more clarity and self-respect. So that's kind of the let them theory in a nutshell.
Yeah. I bought it. I got it on Audible as you were telling me about it.
I'm curious. Let me know let me
I
know
will.
what you think about
I
let
will.
them.
I will. It's a 10 and a half hour listen, so that'll be interesting. So I'm going to kind of summarize everything you've shared with us because we're about 10 minutes out. Sleep hygiene, which starts with, don't have any type of caffeinated alcohol beverages, et cetera, for, about an hour prior to bedtime. Shut off your laptop, your desktop, your cell phones an hour before bedtime. right? Make sure your room is nice and cold. If you can handle listening to some kind of meditation music, that helps with the sleep, at least with Jeremy it does. Other nugget was the Muse band, which helps you understand what your brain's responding to as far as those sounds of meditation, correct?
Correct.
Obviously, Let Them Theory is a good book to go get, read, listen to understand it, just let them be the assholes that they are. And then I'm missing a couple of them. What were the other ones?
The gratitude, like three
The
good things.
gratitude, all three good things.
Journaling.
Check that out. That's a good thing. Yeah, ginger. And I used to journal all the time. I mean, I journaled when I decided I wanted to be a writer in high school. I journaled like nonstop every day. For lack of a better term, I had a diary. But it's not cool to be a man and have a diary, right? So we call it journaling. Therapy. I've done therapy. I actually got into therapy because of my time at Broker's Hub, and you guys were so open about that. I was like, huh, I got some shit, and it works. So it's you don't got to be messed up a psycho nut to go to therapy. It just helps to talk to somebody that's not blood relative or you're laying next to you every day for 30 years.
And we don't talk about mental
We
health.
don't.
We
We
push it
don't.
under the rug. We think that person's crazy, this or that. Going to a therapist, you basically have a non-biased opinion.
Right.
Like, you know what? I had a fight with my spouse and this is what happened. Well, do you think you're going to handle it a different manner? Just opening yourself up to having a different mindset and having a different person's opinion that's not connected to you. So
Yeah.
I'm pro therapy. I think a lot of people push it aside, and especially in our industry when we get beat up a lot, it's like you need to take care of yourself.
And I think that, at least for me, the message is, for your if you're like a person that's like, I'm all about business, right? And all this. Well, listen, you are the most important person in your business model. And if you can't take care of yourself, what is that going to say about your business, right? You need to really make that a priority. You need to make your mental health and your health a priority, because if you're not functioning, your business isn't going to be functioning. You are the most important thing in your own business model, right? And so that's what I'm taking away from this is that, look, like a lot of people are going to say like, oh, takes too much time. I don't have time for it. But you do have time, right?
Yeah,
You do
you
have
do have
time
time.
because this is probably the most important thing about your business, right? Is yourself.
And like one thing, what I've learned is that you give all these tools to someone, including myself, and I'm like, I'm going to do everything all at once. And guess what? You don't do anything because you
Right.
get overwhelmed. Like, oh, now I have to get the Muse. I have to do that every day. I have to get the sound machine. I have to do this, do that.
Right.
Get rid of my TV in my room. Turn off my, try one thing. So like whether it's turn on the do not disturb on your phone. It's very easy to do. If you need help, I'm more than happy to go through it with you, and try it for a week and see how many times you cheat, so to speak, because when you click on your phone on your do not disturb, you have to push the do not disturb off to actually access all your notification. So
So
it's not like,
so when you first started doing it, was it empowering? After you got past the psyche of, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And then once you kind of got in the groove, was that an empowering, self-empowering moment where do not disturb, suckers. See you later. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
it puts yourself first. Like
Yeah.
Marco said, is that if you're not there mentally or physically and you're running your own business, your clients are going to suffer because you're not on your top of your game. It's not being selfish because you're doing a do not disturb. You're putting yourself first. And so trying the little things like do not disturb, see how many times you cheat, and you're going to fall back. You're not, you're human.
Right.
You're not going to be a bad person by checking the phone because you're expecting something important, but try little nuggets first and don't try every single thing that I recommended because it might be overwhelming. But just try one little thing that might alter your way of how you focus for 26.
So Mark Voss posted a question, and I'm going to answer it, then you can answer it. So how I found a therapist, Mark, is I looked at what I wanted to have a discussion with, the topics that were affecting my day to day, and then when I researched therapists, I found ones that kind of had those categories, and then that helped me a lot. Especially there's a thing called, what is it, EMDR, where you go back into your life and you find a memory that's causing you trauma, and a lot of our traumas are physical. They're not physical traumas per se, but we carry them physically in our mind, body, whatever. So when you go back in this EMDR stuff, it actually helps you confront that circumstance and you kind of take ownership of it and step away. And so that's what I did when I decided to take that leap. I specifically went in to find somebody to help me deal with all the childhood sexual abuse that I went through, because it helped It helped kind of get that out of my brain for the first time in, 52 years. So that was my focus. I don't know. So answer the question for him too, Jeremy. How did you find the therapist and select one that you felt was going to be right for you?
Sure. Your primary care can recommend, if you feel comfortable with your primary care, getting a referral from a friend or family member.
But see, going and asking a friend and family member, right? Because coming to the point to where you think you need therapy is a very vulnerable situation in your life. So I don't necessarily, and I'm not
Want to
dissing
go.
you, but
Yeah.
I never, aside from the friends I've made at Broker's Hub, this is kind of, take this how you will. The friendships I had prior to Broker's Hub, there's no way in hell I'd walk up to John Morgan or Kelly and say, hey man, I need a therapist. You got anybody for me? Because that's just, again, what Marco talked about earlier. We don't talk about mental health. Mental health is taboo. That's why suicides are suicides, because people do not understand that somebody else is feeling the same way.
Right.
Right. So you don't talk about it. You shut it in, you bury it. So I mean, legit, being a Broker's Hub got me to the point to where you guys had talked about it, one of our fireside chats. I'm like, I should try that. I mean,
I
what's it gonna
remember that when
right? But that's so
yeah,
that's the thing. So it wasn't. I don't think unless you have that type of real strong relationship with people,
or
I don't
comfortability.
know. Right?
Right.
Because if you go to a friend and say, hey man, I need to see a therapist, like, what, you fucking crazy? Then you're
Yeah.
like, when
Yeah.
I stopped drinking, I got all kinds of shit because I stopped drinking because my friends were all drinkers.
Right.
Well,
No.
you're not going to stop, dude. You're sure. You're fine, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Come out for a drink now. Yeah. So
Right.
it's okay. I totally agree with you. So if you're not ready to ask a friend or family member,
Right.
then if you have insurance, if you're lucky enough to have health
Mhm.
insurance, you can go onto the website and see what preferred therapists are in
Yeah.
your network. If you have like issues like insomnia, like a lot of people don't sleep that well. I mean, it's very
Mhm.
common. There's
Yeah.
therapists that focus on insomnia and figuring out ways that you can sleep better. So if there's
Yeah.
certain things that like anxiety, there's therapists that focus on that. Sexual abuse, there's certain therapists that focus on that. So going to a primary care person to ask for a referral, you can contact your insurance company, Google,
I
ChatGPT,
Googled it. I Googled it.
yeah,
I just Googled, this is what I'm
yeah.
looking for. This is what I need. And so I hope that answers your question, Mark, because there's a couple different answers there.
And test them out. If it's one therapist you don't really have a
Yeah. Oh,
connection
yeah.
with, then go to
Yeah.
another one. You're not locked
Yeah.
into that person
Yeah.
just because you signed up with them.
Yeah. I went to 3 before I found the one.
The one, and
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 because
you'll
of,
know
yeah.
when you find
Oh,
someone.
yeah. You
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
You do, because the connection, you feel that, like I did anyway. The first two, like, yeah. The third one's like, oh, okay. Like I left that, like, wow, okay, that worked. That's legit. You're welcome, Mark. That's legit. So yeah, trust your feelings for sure. But I would, if you don't know where to go, Google's your friend for sure, and then just kind of vet them your own way.
So I'll leave it on this note. So this one therapist, I don't go to her anymore because she retired, but she taught me two things that I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that. The first thing was, as soon as I woke up in the morning, I looked at my phone. That was my first thing I did. And then this was years ago. She's like, that's the
Worst
worst
thing
thing
you
you
can
can
do.
do is wake up and that's what you're going to do. Look at your phone, make some coffee, read a book, listen to music, go outside. So I changed that
Dude,
where
your
after,
spouse.
yeah, focus on your family. Like those are the important things in your life. So put the phone away as soon as you wake up. And then, sorry, the other thing, well, shoot, there was
Sorry,
another
yeah, it's
profound.
my humor injected. Psych.
I for, I for, oh, I know. I'm not sure how many people have Sunday scaries. You ever heard of Sunday scaries?
Oh, yeah.
It's common. Like, even though you're self-employed and every day is a Monday,
Yeah. Right.
Sunday scaries is worrying about Monday. Hate
Okay.
Monday, I have Monday blues. So my therapist is like, do something that you love to do on every Monday. So I love to
Oh.
eat sushi. So
Mm.
she's like, okay, then go have sushi every Monday. So you're looking forward to that Monday. Something like, and it's weird because I've talked to many people like, oh, you have Sunday scaries too. I didn't even know that was a terminology where you're worrying about the whole week. Maybe you had the weekend with your family and then you're ready to focus on the week
Mm-hmm.
ahead and you're like worried about everything and it's keeping you up at night. So
Yeah.
doing something for yourself Monday, whether it's, you love sushi or love going to the park or what have you, just put that on your calendar and it's a non-negotiable.
I love that we started the year with
Mm.
this topic because we need to take care of ourselves,
Yeah.
right? We do need to take care of ourselves.
Mm.
I think a lot of us are very self-critical. I think a lot of us beat ourselves up. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, right? And you need to take care of yourself so you can be the best version of yourself. So thank you, Jeremy, because I think this is a great way to start off 2026. Make sure everybody out there, just make sure you take care of yourself, right? You are the most important part of your business model. And so you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
Without you, the train doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't move. It doesn't go forward. And if you're not in the right mindset, then your business is going to suffer. That's just
Doesn't
fact.
matter how much money you have in your
No.
bank account or how many
Nope.
homes you close prior.
Yep.
If you're not in a
Yep.
good mindset,
Yep.
the car is not going to run.
Yep. So Sherry says, thank you. Great session.
Thank you, everyone.
Noel says, thank you, Jeremy. This was great. Appreciate you. We appreciate all of you for coming and joining us on
Yeah,
Elevating
thanks,
Your
guys.
Voice. We will be back again next week. Again, that's Marco Bravo. I'm Chris Dunham. This was Jeremy David Schachter. And now you understand why we didn't share who was coming on, because you all would have had at least I would have, a preconceived notion, oh, we're going to talk about lending. We're going to talk about rates. We're going to talk about mortgage programs. Instead, we got some nuggets of how to live a better life day to day from someone that we all know, love, and trust. So thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
everybody.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great
Everybody have a great day.
2026, everyone.
Yes,
Bye.
we'll see you. We'll see you.